Okay. Welcome, everyone. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. And if you're just joining, welcome. Great to have you. Happy Sunday. I don't think it's Monday yet. Everyone. Well, it might be Monday in Japan. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. Monday for you. Happy Monday. And if you're just joining, welcome. Great to have you. Great to have you. Happy Sunday. I don't think it's Monday yet. Everyone. Well, it might be Monday in Japan. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat. For you, happy Monday. And if you're just joining, welcome. Great to have you. Great to have you.
Hey, Tasha K.
Happy
Tasha
Sunday. I don't think it's Monday yet. Everyone. Well, it might be Monday in Japan. If you can hear me,
sound down all the way so that there's no echo. There's no echo, right, guys? There shouldn't at least be an echo. Okay, cool. I'll leave that and let me come back here. Okay. There's none now that I've adjusted. Thanks, Tori and Empress, and thanks, Vanessa. Okay, cool. No echo now, Angelina says. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. I always got to double check that. Awesome to have you. Welcome. Oh, thanks for the hearts. I always appreciate when you guys like the content and like the videos. Thank you. So I wanted to join you guys live today to have a conversation about the channeled messages that I just put out and give you guys an opportunity to just check in. What have your experiences been in your connections? What is it that you're noticing? Questions. If you have questions about what it was that my guide shared with me, it's definitely a very different type of energy that we are about to move into, where it's far more tangible in a lot of ways, not just tangible, but personal in a lot of ways, in the ways that it is transformative for us individually, us in connection. It's also it's a big shift. It's a huge departure from what we have seen collectively when it comes to interactions and connection. Whereas there was a lot that was happening on the 5D, a lot that was happening in the spiritual dimensions, the unseen realms in the years leading up to this union window into the next union window. This is going to be a lot more tangible, a lot more real, a lot more interpersonal, a lot more personal. So I wanted to make sure that I provided an opportunity for those of you who could make it live to ask some questions about it, share what your experiences have been, just so that we can provide some extra validation for people who may find this content in the months and years to come for what they may be going through, some validation, some affirmation. I've spent a lot of time in meditation today and this past week, just attuning myself for this conversation. So if you have questions, the floor is open, or if you just want to share what your experience has been when it comes to your connection, the floor is open. I would love to hear what your thoughts are, what your experiences have been, or any questions that you have. Oh, and I wanted to share this with you guys. For those of you that are here live, if you I was guided to supply or make available some twin flame readings. There are 7 spots left. I'm not quite sure where the future of those are headed. Um, at the moment, or at least leading up into this union window, there was like a lot of um the guidance for me to just let you all have your experience interiorly and find your own internal guidance as we're closing this union window. Um, there has been, they're like, okay, open up some spaces for people to just understand what has shifted for them and their connections and give them some grounding in what their next chapter is. Because everyone's next chapter is going to be so unique to what happens, given that we had the counterparts meet up in Aries and create this Aries gateway for the next chapter. So, with that in mind, those of you who feel like, yeah, I really need some guidance, I did set aside some twin flame readings. They're available in the second half of July. So there are 7 spots left. If you want to have a look at your chart, the chart of your union, and the chart of your counterpart, then we can do that in a twin flame reading. They're 1 hour long. And I've noticed actually, since jumping into the closure of this union window, the union with self piece for me that's amplified personally is an extraordinary amount of personal channeling. I never used to be able to get messages for people in their individual connections unless I knew you really well. But now clients are showing up and I'm able to like channel their counterpart, channel them, channel their soulmate, their twin flame, their spouse. And that's been different. Like to be able to do that and do that with such accuracy, seeing that change for me is like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. There was nothing in my chart that indicated that per se, but nevertheless, here it is. So if you feel like you really need some guidance, you can book that. And also for personal readings during this live only, if you're like, no, I don't need to look at anyone else's chart, I just want to understand my own situation, you can save 20% on a personal reading during this live with the code live20. And you can go ahead and use that link to book it. Okay. Let me pin that. So, Madeline shares my experience is me working through project after project. Yeah, it's a very tangible type of energy. I'm really glad you shared that, Madeline. Aries is such an active energy. It is such a movement oriented energy. I'm not surprised that so much of the closure of the union window and moving into this next segment of time that you're busy. I think a lot of people are going to be busy. Hey, Penny, welcome. Susan says you're both married. Tasha says she's got some integration of her divine self. That's really good. And Michelle agrees. There's that for Michelle as well. Very good. And a lot of people are going to see that. I mean, I think that's some of the expression that I have been in with the way channeling has come online for me. I was not expecting that. Wasn't something I was looking for, but definitely there was like an agitation in like my clairvoyance and in my clairaudience that needed an outlet. And as I've moved through session after session in the last maybe a couple of months, but certainly this past month in particular, the month of June, it's just been like on fire. So, really cool stuff that you guys are having that experience as well. Susan says she's experiencing her marriage falling apart. It's interesting because I feel like collectively, it's not just marriages. I think people are seeing a lot of transformation at work a lot of transformation in their friendship circles, a lot of transformation in their home life. There's a significant amount of movement as we open into this next chapter of people getting across life's chessboard to where they're supposed to be next. Hey, Hope, Love, and Sunshine. Really great to have you here. Thank you for joining. And so, if you're just joining, welcome. We're just having an open chat and dialogue. The question on the table was, what have your experiences been since we've closed this union window and we've opened into this Aries gateway for occupying union? If you have questions about the channeled messages that I recently shared here on the channel, this is an open forum. I am like literally live sitting here in front of my computer reading your comments. So if you want to ask questions, now is the perfect time to do that. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If any of the vocabulary is confusing or creating uncertainty, just let me know. There's no stupid questions. It's just where you're at, and I'm happy to answer any questions you need so that you feel like you're grounded and have an understanding and some validation for what you've been experiencing. Cool. Torian Empress says the most recent conversation was about him having some deep introspection about his actions. Aries is about action, so I'm not surprised. And I also can see how it was a catalyst for my healing as well as his growth. Really good. Awesome. Yeah. And Aries energy is extraordinarily catalytic as the first sign of the zodiac. Like Aries energy enters a room like a cannon. Like it is bombastic, it is loud, it is unignorable. It is a very catalytic energy. I would say it's all the 12 signs of the zodiac in terms of being catalytic for people. It's only second in catalytic energy to Aquarius, and Aquarius has played a major role thematically for all of us since 2021 when Saturn moved through Aquarius, Jupiter moved through there, and there's just been a lot of movement through the sign of Aquarius. We now have Pluto resting in Aquarius for a full 20-year stay. And that's going to be very catalytic. So this Aries thing is like, I would say, of catalytic signs, Aquarius certainly, then Aries. So yeah, it's an agitational energy. It is hard to sit still. It is hard to do the same thing. It is difficult to sustain the status quo in the frequency that has opened up. So that there's been deep introspection about our actions, revelation and insight. This is huge. It gives us all an opportunity to step into greater personal self expression, greater alignment with our truth, placing ourselves on the planet where we feel like our truth can be expressed in circles and with people where we feel like we can honor the truth of who we are, since Aries is about the identity and the self. So it's really beautiful. Saray says, no connection since end of March. Last call was 8th of April. Yeah, I definitely spoke to that, Saray, in the second set of channeled messages that I provided. That there, for some people, especially as Juno completed her retrograde cycle, and she's the planetary energy I read as the divine feminine. She's in the mythology, the wife of Jupiter. That completion of Juno retrograde that really completed the union window energy in April would have really placed people, like it was almost like we kind of all went through this like maze, or you could, it's like winding set of tubes, and then we got spit out into the next location after April and May, or in the month of May. And so if you felt like in the month of May there was some sort of transition, closing of one chapter, opening to another chapter, completion of a cycle, a falling off of energy in the month of May, and an opening to a new energy, this is to be expected. Now that we have completed the 2-year union window cycle, the month of May placed us in a very new location. June has been about acclimation to this newness. So, Saray, hang in there, I would say. And just explore. Well, what is this for me? What is this that I'm feeling in my heart space? What is my heart guiding me to do at this time? What's real for me in the heart space beneath all of the emotional ups and downs, right? Because those are going to happen. Some days you're going to feel, really connected. Some days you're not going to feel connected. Some days you're going to feel, oh, I'm so in love. Some days you're going to feel irritated. Beneath all of that, there is this new undercurrent that we're all pulling from, and that it's going to have a very personal kind of expression for each of us. So the goal here isn't to have it all look the way it's always looked in the third dimension. The goal here is to really source for yourself, where is the alignment here for me? Where's the truth here for me? And how do I align my actions to that truth at this time? Tasha says, agitation of gifts, great word. I feel that. Torian Empress says, and abundance, increase financially. Right on. Good stuff. I'm a rising Leo. Okay, good. Glad you're getting abundance and increase. Michelle says, agitation describes the vibe well, as well as inspiring. Yeah, Michelle, totally. Yeah, inspiring is a great way to put it. I mean, we'll see this, and we see this in the media a lot. There are a lot of people who have like strong Aries energy, and they can be very inspiring people. When people have like large Aries stelliums or Aries prominently placed in the chart, perhaps at like the midheaven per se, these people tend to really charge forward, and that's Aries energy. It charges forward. I think the word that like made the rounds in uh Gen Z pop culture earlier in the year is standing on business. This particular energy that we've just stepped into is about that. It's like it's a no games kind of energy, and that straightforwardness, that Aries kind of act without thinking, ask questions later. That directness that comes from a sense of like naivete and clean slate, because Aries is that first sign of the zodiac. Yeah, it absolutely um, can be a very inspiring type of energy to be in. Raven is submitting paperwork for retirement in July. Hey, go ahead, girl. Really happy for that for you. Congratulations. Tasha asks, when he comes to mind unprompted by me, is that telepathy? LOL. I feel wild. Sometimes it can be. What's interesting, Tasha, about this newness that we're in, and this is actually independent of twin flame, divine counterpart, soulmate situations I'm seeing, it's just part of the ascension process that we've all been in since 2012, with a lot of acceleration points as we hit 2020. Telepathy is something that more than just twin flames are experiencing. And if you are paying attention, which I encourage us all to do, that gifting of being able to, hear your phone ringing and know who it is before you look at it. Um, have a thought about someone before their email passes your inbox. Um, get that ping in your spirit when you know someone has read a message that you sent and the response comes back like within seconds of it. Um, you get this kind of like interior answering to someone's question before they've even had the opportunity to ask it. This is a function of the ascension process that all human beings are opening to these gifts. The Divine Counterpart Collective, as a sub collective of light workers, has absolutely had some quite strong training wheels, Tasha. But that's not something that's exclusive to just us. And I'm sure those of you who have kids have probably noticed heightened telepathy with your children as well. And those kinds of experiences where you are just attuned to the room, attuned to the people around you. You get a sense of what they're thinking and feeling before they even have to say it. This heightened sensitivity is a process that is meant to really assist us as humans for the betterment of the way we treat one another, the way we form policy, the way we deal with law. Because if I can feel your pain without being in your situation, if I can feel your evolution and growth and expansion and the joy in that without having to be in your situation, it amplifies our capacity to be compassionate for difference through differences. It amplifies our capacity to be unconditional with one another. Which I think is something that humanity, we're ready. We're ready for that. We're at this point where we are ready to be able to extend um, the love that we would have for us and our tribe to people for whom we have not, with whom we have nothing in common with. But some of this amplification of telepathic, the clairs opening, the empathy opening, this is part of the process. So that is awesome. Really, really glad that you're having that experience, Tasha. I'm sure more of you are also having that experience as well, beyond just your connection. Okay. Jessica Marie says, we're both settling into a feeling of grounded self. Cool. Even though the individual chaos, which is leading to a deepening, even through the individual chaos, which is leading to a deepening of our relationship, right on. This is good. Yeah. Because when you can really have that interior union with self, you have like the only thing that can happen is for everything outside of you to conform. It just conforms. It like union with self is the breeding ground for all the other types of union to unfold. I would say the only superseding is like union with God, the divine source. So really cool, Jessica. Yeah. And I would even invite you to reframe individual chaos as just rapid evolution and growth, because I think we're all in that place where so much is changing. It's changing so fast. We could view it as chaos as long as you can give chaos a positive connotation where it's fertile for you, because that's what's happening. We're in this place of heightened fertile ground for our creations at this time. So it's really exciting. Cool. Melissa O says, I am, where is it? Hang on, let me go back to it. I gotta find it. I'm in Aries, and my siblings used to joke about how I moved like I was shot out of a cannon. Yeah, Melissa, it can be like that for sure. Um, Martian energy is just, it does not have brakes or an off switch. interiorly built in. So if you're just joining, welcome. It is awesome to have you. We are doing a live Q&A. If you happen to listen to the 2 channeled messages I just put out for Twin Flames, fantastic. I covered a lot of ground in those 2 messages. I think one was 1 hour and one was 45 minutes. And they give a broad overview of the beautiful energy that we're experiencing as we settle into the Aries gateways for union. The union window that we just had closed, and now we're in this extended period of time of access to union, specifically through Aries energy. And I went into significant amounts of detail around that inside of both of those channeled messages. So if you listened and you have questions, now's the perfect time to ask. You just want to share, because that's mostly what we're doing here, is just sharing what the experiences are as people will come and listen to this in the months and years to come, looking for some sort of, am I crazy? And your experiences will help them see they are not at all. So if you want to share either in the comments, if you're listening to the recording, or you want to share if you're live, feel free. There are 7 spots available for twin flame readings if you want to take one in the second half of July. And if you click on that link up at the top, there's also a savings code for a personal reading for 20% off during this live only. The code is live20. So if you want to book that, it's also available in the second half of July as well. Okay. Chloe says, hi, Kay. Thank you for this Q&A. Could you speak on a DM soulmate starting to reflect qualities of the DM twin flame suddenly at this time? Appearance changes, hobbies, etc. I'm currently in Saturn return. I've also been given a lot of responsibility that relates to building a new foundation for myself. Wow. Okay, let me tune in and see. Let me ask my guides about that. I have not heard of anything like that, but let me just see. Has anyone else had this experience that Chloe's describing where there's a person in her life that's taking on the qualities of somebody else that she was connected with that um interesting. Is that a thing, guys? Okay. So there's a few different layers that they're speaking to me about. One of the layers, Chloe, had to do with the first thing that they showed me was um like a cleansing of your own like retina. Like they were talking about seeing what's in front of you with greater clarity. The second thing they're talking about, like that what you're seeing is some of what you're seeing is what was already there. It just there was like the veil has been lifted so that there's a capacity to see Chloe. They're also talking about your creatorship as a divine creator incarnate, and that because your puzzle piece is shaped a certain way, people who want to plug in with you have to be a particular shape as well. And so if that person wanted to connect with you, their shape would need to morph to be a shape compatible with yours. And then the last thing that they're talking about here, give me the last thing again, guys. They're inviting you to be conscientious about your sharing. That there's some level of like awareness, like to pay attention to where this person is becoming what you want as opposed to who they are. And to just be very conscientious of that and stay encouraging of people being all of who they are. Okay. But that responsibility thing, Chloe, makes a lot of sense during a Saturn return. Saturn is all about boundaries and foundations. So, and responsibility. Universal Goddess says, my twin flame, who lives with the mother of their child, recently told me he talked to his grandfather about me. Made me feel more like the 5D energy is being brought down. It is. It's exactly into the 3D. It's exactly what's happening. It's being brought down into the 3D, and it's going to cause a lot of shifts, not just for us personally, but interpersonally and socially as well. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Hope, Love, and Sunshine says, is it possible to meet, like, and date someone besides your twin and actually have a nice time? Meeting this new gentleman has already taught me so many lessons, like a final exam, and it's all positive. Yeah, I hope it is actually, especially in this particular season. What they were showing me was a shifting across life's chessboard. Every time we have these union window pockets, so we had one 2014 to 15, we just came out of one 22 to 23. And then the next one won't be until like basically 28 and 29. Sorry, 29 and 30. There is this rattling, like shaking up like dice in a cup almost of connections where um, we all get these openings, these opportunities for coming closer together, really seeing what stands in between us and the expression of love. And if it is helpful to your growth, absolutely, your wiring could open in such a way that allows another person to step into connection with you for the calibration of greater love. So it's not something everyone goes through, but it's definitely something where if your spirit needs it for its evolution, of course, like the divine won't hold that back from you. Not at all. So thank you for sharing that. Hope, love, and sunshine. I think that's going to validate some things for folks. Priscilla Marie says Shakti is rising. Yes. As I go deeper within, energy seems to be stuck in the solar plexus. Yes. With pressure, tightness in the spine, with a lot of energy moving around. Third energy is integrating, balancing. Any advice? Oh, my OMG. Like I'm having a lot of that too, Priscilla. Um, for people, what do you guys want to say about this? There's an expansion of the platform for the self with the Aries energy that's allowing people to become more of who they truly are. For those who have sourced a lot of identity externally, parents, family, culture, city of origin, age bracket, generation, marital status, etc., you're going to find a dissolution of externally sourced frameworks for identity. The job of the solar plexus is to sustain the identity's movement through the ego platform in the third dimension. Because there is such significant change in this new frequency, allowing people to experience true self and host greater quotient of source in their physical body, changes through the solar plexus are necessary, can't be avoided. Interesting. What else did you want to say about that? For many who have run a dominant masculine energy through their system, whether it is regardless of their own gender, there is a significant level of movement from the sacral through the solar and up to the heart over these next several years. So that full awareness of the connection, and not just the connection, but love and who you are as a divine being, can blossom in the sixth, expand through the heart and high heart, and operate as a way of living. Interesting. That's all I have to share about that. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful, Priscilla. But yeah, really cool. Oh, she asked, guys, does you have any advice for her on integrating and balancing? What is the advice for those experiencing this solar plexus shift? Take it slow. Do not try to hold on to former aspects of your identity. You'll see things come online and fall offline almost overnight in your identity. Give yourself permission to be who you are now, to like what you like now, even if it causes transition in, like, they're showing me like friendship circles and moving out of certain friendship circles and moving into other circles, and not trying to hold on to things that you're no longer interested in, Priscilla. Okay. They're saying also, like, just pay attention to your diet as well, and any cues your gut is giving you around who you're supposed to be around and who you're not, like correct environments for you. Okay. Awesome. Saray says, thank you. Energetically, something shift, focusing on my soul growth rather than seeking twin flame attention. And that's what I felt since then. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Hope, Love, and Sunshine says, it's been a truly eye-opening and self-examining experience meeting someone new. I believe this new gentleman has definitely been a test, and I have up-leveled a lot. Awesome. Priscilla says, my North Node is in Aries, fifth house. Soul recognition happened in Aries season. And yes, Hope, Love, and Sunshine says, I believe I have been experiencing heightened sensitivity. You know what's interesting about Aries energy, as brash and foot in mouth and naive as Aries can be, Aries is actually, like, every Aries I know is actually quite a sensitive soul. Like, they can dish it, but they cannot take it. Um, and so there's, if you think about like the sensitivity of a newborn baby to the environment, are they loud and the most dominating factor in the environment? Yes. Are they also extraordinarily sensitive to the environment. Also, yes. As that first sign of the zodiac, it brings a lot of that, those brash, bright colors of springtime in the northern hemisphere, that bombastic energy of like newborn baby. I think somebody mentioned earlier that her family sees her as her movements as like she's been shot out of a cannon, that kind of thing. So, yeah. Michelle writes, says, really like, I think she means like that word up leveled. Thank you. Oh, yes. Samantha says, my favorite is knowing when my food is ready at a takeout. Yes, right? You can get those like telepathic vibes. Um, Absolutely. Let me go back. Um, Take out and going to the counter right before they give it to me. Yes. Lots of that telepathy. Michelle says, I enjoy how fast things can manifest, like in a matter of minutes. Same, Michelle. Same. I've had a lot of fun playing with it. It was like trying to manifest a rainbow colored rose, a blue butterfly, like within 24 hours, like things just showing themselves, showing themselves, showing themselves, especially if you know like your manifestation process. It's really fun to see that kind of thing. So, um, Shandy says, and welcome, Christina Adams. Great to have you. Shandy says, chaos is confusing, but confusion literally means fusion. I love that reframe. That is awesome. Cat Bond says, if you're in a twin flame connection, have you always been in one from the beginning of your creation? Or does that happen after trips on Earth alone? I don't know, Kat, if you had, so I think it was the second one I did Q&A with Kay. Um, it was a mentorship program for twin flames. I think the second one I did was about divine union, and we went like in depth about being a twin, like having two twins, this kind of thing. And I put some channeled messages in there. If you have that, that's definitely in your member area. But I would say, let me go back to what they've told me about it. That it's an advanced soul type of experience. And it depends. It just depends. Some are doing it because it's an accelerated learning path and they just have things to do by a certain place in the time space continuum. And they're like, okay, I'm just going to learn these things at this accelerated clip by duplicating myself. For other people, it's like kind of like the slow road, like I have to break this lesson down in a different path, like in a different way. Like algebra one is really challenging, so I need to chunk this down into much smaller components. And then still for other people, there's folks who have operated in some format of this energy in other dimensions, other realities, other planets. And I was shown that they come here in service in this capacity, in this configuration. So it's just different. Different people have different reasons why, different ways of coming into the experience. So yeah. Christina Adams, soulmate turned rogue, like Twin did. Gotcha. Princess Leia, perhaps as a mirror effect. Christina Adams, yes, mirror. Gotcha. Saray says, I have stuck energy in my abdominal area, sacral chakra. Is there, especially in my left ovary, pain and pressure? Do you have any suggestions about this is related to twin flame process? Could it be periodic? You know what, Saray? I mean, that's so specific to certain organs. I have to recommend that you get a scan with your doctor and check that out. I think that that's going to serve you to just make sure that there's nothing going on in the tissues that has manifested as, some level of needing some real help. Um, yeah, and that's what my guides are saying. They're saying, outside of just what they had to say about the movement of energy in the chakras at this time, um, they have nothing else to share about this, but they do recommend you seeing a doctor. So, um, but yeah, there's collectively, we're all moving into the chakra expansion to such a degree where what we have are these ascension columns. If you're familiar with the work of Sandra Walter, she's talked about this in the preceding years leading up to 2020. And since post 2020, that we get there for many people who are moving into this advanced soul consciousness. The ascension column is essentially those chakras becoming a full light column to channel energy through, source energy through while you're here incarnate, so that there's not such separation in the chakras. So these chakras can be moving toward that during this season for some people in such a way where you can just physically feel it. But I would also say, Saray, see a doctor. Um, Moonflower Reiki, I didn't see anything from you, hon. I'm sorry. If you want to repost, I'm happy to take a look for you. Christina Adams said, learned a lot from Soulmate Connection, let go with love. Kylie says, can't make it today. Horrible mod. No, you're not a horrible mod. Let's not be catastrophic. You're a wonderful moderator. Think like in all of the years of doing this, you've probably only missed like 3 lives, girl. Like, take a break. Enjoy your Sunday. I hope you're missing it because you are in a bubble bath with a glass of champagne, eating chocolate covered strawberries. You work hard enough. You deserve it. Um, Christina says her soulmate connection was more painful than her twin connection. Yeah, it sounds like there's just a lot of catalytic growth going on for you, Christina. Um, Angelina Divina says, thanks for the permission to lean into soulmates during this heavy calibration period. Needed that. Angelina, it's going to be so personal for so many people. I mean, I'm not issuing the permission. Like your spirit is issuing that. Like you're going to, what you need is going to show up for you, whether that's another person, another job, another house, a divorce, right? Experiencing the death of a parent, experiencing the, you know, transition of your neighborhood from one way of being to another, the death of one passion and the onboarding of a new passion in your career or in your project life, right? There's so many different ways that this energy is going to take shape for each individual couple. And so that's why I also set aside those 7 spots for twin flame readings. If you're feeling like, yeah, I'm just really confused about what's happening in my connection and where I'm at, if you want to grab one of those spots, you absolutely can. There are 7 of them left. Um, but yeah, it's going to be so personal, so unique, so individualized this next step. Your pathway, Angelina Zavina, it's not going to look like mine. Mine's not going to look like Kat Bond's. Kat Bond's isn't going to look like Christina's. Christina's won't look like Hope, Love, and Sunshine's. Like it's going to be so unique because that's what Aries is. It's a very individualized energy. So, whatever it is you're feeling really guided toward, and I like guided is specific. I want to be clear. We're not talking about running or shutting down or these kinds of things. We're specifically talking about, at that much deeper level, when that self-love is really singing its song, it is showing you the truth of here's where I'm at, here's how I feel, here's what I need. So, yeah, give yourself space for that. For some of you, it might be therapy. For others, it might be coaching. For some of you, it might be yoga. It's just going to be trust yourself and your process. And like I said, if you're really stuck, your chart can show you, which is why I have the 20% off in that pinned comment up above for those of you who are like, yeah, I need to look at my chart because there's just enough going on where I'm not clear which direction is my pathway. But your personal blueprint can certainly show it to you. Okay. Kat says, totally possible. That's a choice always. For every not positive thing we focus on, we could choose to shift focus, yes, on a not positive thing to a positive. Two sides to every coin. Sure, sure. Charlie says, how will the Venus-Mars transit this month impact? I haven't looked at it in relationship, Charlie, to Jupiter and Juno, which are the planets I read as divine counterparts. So be on the lookout for that. I did start working on the lunar update for the Cancer new moon. So just be on the lookout for that this week. I think it'll be interesting for sure. The one thing I did notice in the Cancer new moon, because Venus and Mars are sitting in a harmonious conversation with some of the planet, like at the Cancer new moon, they're sitting in a sextile. I did notice that this new moon is going to be pretty passionate for some people without being ungrounded. So that'll be good. There's a lot of emotional truth with this particular new moon. Princess Leia says, I've been on the fence with allowing a soulmate in. I feel like I'm being tested by spirit to stay committed. Okay. To this connection to teach me what's worth waiting for. That's been an issue in my life. Yeah, it's going to be different for everyone. Some of you really, it's like anyone who's throwing attention your way or anything that feels good, where you can get that validation or that sense of being seen by light, you just magnetize to it like a moth to a flame. And it's really undermined capacity to be connected in a real way. But then for other people, it's the exact opposite, where, there has been so much pouring and giving in one particular location, and it's not been reciprocated in any way. For some of you in that kind of situation, this is when you'll find your heart may shift in such a way to allow reciprocation to unfold. Personal, different, unique, not specific to a collective, but specific to you and your journey. You're each going to be invited into what's going to calibrate you for that union with self. Okay. Really good stuff, guys. Let me try to scroll back up, see where the comments are. So I like lost track of some of the comments. I can't see them all. Um, let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay. Hope Love and Sunshine is having a conversation with Kat and says, yes, definitely. They presented a situation for me, a new guy, and it was up to me to respond or react and how to do either one. Lessons have been endless and very quick. Tons of them and ongoing. Yeah. Priscilla Marie says she got some confirmation. Beautiful. Thank you. You are welcome, beautiful. Thank you. Saray shares Lilith changed zodiac signs. This transitioned into Libra. I take the transit from the 10th to the 12th house. My twin flame takes it from the 3rd and 4th. How does this transit impact for twin flames? You know what, Saray, that's such a specific question about Lilith in particular and those houses. I would need to see the charts to be able to speak to that. Because I have no idea what aspects Lilith is making to your sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, Mars. I would need to see who is Lilith influencing? What are the signs governing those houses for me to be able to speak to that in a way that's actually going to serve you? And what I'm trying to do in today's conversation is really serve as many people in the collective as possible. Okay. Michelle says, I'm curious about the upcoming new moon in Cancer and the emotionality of letting go as an act of faith in self and in spirit. Destabilizing yet clarifying at the same time. Takes soul grit for sure. I would agree with that, Michelle. Um, and depending upon what you're trying to let go of, right? I think the theme with this new moon in Cancer, based on what I have seen so far, is emotional congruence. The new moon in Cancer is really showing itself to be a new moon that is not really letting us kind of waffle about where we're at emotionally and what's emotionally true for us. And this energy has really been building, I would say, over the last multiple lunations, this kind of theme around emotional congruence and emotional truth. Much of this has been about getting us to land in the newness that's available to us through this Aries energy, this new beginning. Because of that, there is a lot of closing off of doorways, pathways, um, ways of behaving and acting, ways of thinking, emotional patterning, a lot of closing off of in new moon in Cancer, specifically emotional patterning that has operated in a way that just it left a lot of emotional unfulfillment. And so what we're seeing as we move into this new moon in Cancer is, yeah, I would say letting go is certainly a theme if you look at it, just through one section. Like if I take a telescope and zoom in on one section of a stadium, all I'm going to see is rows and rows and rows of chairs. And I would be like, oh my gosh, this section is all about sitting. But that's not really what goes on in a stadium, right? There's a field where a game is being played. There's teams and coaches and people interacting. People are standing and jumping and shouting and cheering, right? There's tons of different things going on in a stadium. And so I would say we can zoom out from the concept of letting go and really lean into the concept of alignment and congruence. We'll see that we're not moving into void or emptiness or unfulfillment. We're actually making space for greater fulfillment. So, yes, if you're only focused on the letting go part, it can feel really tough, but it doesn't have to be that heavy. Um, okay. Let's see. Moonflower Reiki says, question, my DM has been stuck in an addiction cycle and I've been staying away, but is it my ego that's keeping me from reaching out or best to just keep facing my true north? He wants union. Ah, Moonflower Reiki, that's so personal. Hmm. I don't know. I gotta be honest, I do not know the answer to that question, not without like looking at your chart and their chart. I would say if I just had to give you like personal counsel and advice on this live here, I would say trust your heart around it. Maybe it's not about committing to union or not union as much as it's about committing to being healthy together today And then when tomorrow becomes together, being healthy together today as well. And that healthy together may take different shapes over the course of many, many weeks or months. But rather than trying to have this all or nothing, we're all in it or we're all out of it, maybe just chunk it down and have a look at, all right, do I want to be in communication today? Is this healthy for me? And what do I need in order to feel good in communication and connection? Just one step at a time with it. Okay. But yeah, I would say that process, what you do overall is going to be pretty personal. I would know a little bit better looking at your chart. So if you want to book a reading, I can look at that for you. But outside of that, it's harder for me to say. Darius C says, I think the word is blocked fifth chakra. Been trying a lot to unblock it, but I still feel resistance. It's been happening since meditation 1.5 years ago. Do you have any advice on how to go about unblocking? Interesting. Daria, um, a couple of things. There are some healings at a place where I do some healings and meditations at called True Insight Spiritual Center. You may want to check out that place. Let me just see if I can put True Insight Spiritual Center.org. They do a lot of clearing for blocked chakras and rebalancing and teach a process via which you can unblock your own, which I think would probably be most successful and useful to you. Um, I'd also say pay attention to like just again, and this is kind of the overarching theme and message. I really want to drive it home. What it is you're guided to act on and do. Because the throat chakra acts as the gateway for action, the gateway for movement here on the third dimension. Consciousness comes in through the crown, visualizes, begins the materialization process in the third eye. It has to pass through the gateway of the throat chakra before it becomes manifest in the world of form. I would start to pay attention to where there may have been some actions not taken that needed to get taken for you. Okay. Um, and see if that doesn't get things moving. Ta says, I had visions and messages of my mission for years that requires a partner. And it seems like I've been going through transformation after transformation since then. Gotcha. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Um, Christina is resonating with the addiction conversation. Jelena says, by permission, I meant thanks for the reminder. Yes, our own permission that we forget sometimes in this journey. Yes, we give ourselves permission. Princess Leia says, I have to show up as the person that I am now, which means cutting out the old offers and habits that I used to say yes to. Okay, cool. It feels like I'm cutting off dead weeds from my soul, past life wounds. Yeah, definitely can feel like a season of pruning. I have certainly felt some of that internally, personally, like a season of like breaking down, almost like a detox of sorts. Shreya Sarkar says, I'm going through major 12th house lessons. Yeah. A lot is unraveling every day, and it almost feels like all the pieces of this journey are coming together. Yeah, I love that for you. Hey, Alkeen, welcome to the live. Christina says, loving self to union. Hey, Flower, always great to see you. Kel's mindful messages says, I've just asked for a divorce an hour ago. Whoa, after 27 years, I'm asking for prayers, letting go. Yeah. Okay. personal and different for everyone. Everyone. Yeah. It's going to be so different for each person going through this. So I'm really glad that you guys are really starting to get the theme and the understanding of how personal this is. Really glad you're like leaning into that. That's awesome. Lana says 13th step. Moonflower Reiki says thank you so much. Hessel Book, thank you for your support. Yeah. And if you guys click on that link up at the top, you'll see there's a code. If you book during this live, you can save 20% on a personal reading with Live 20. The twin flame readings are their own price, but the personal readings are 20% off. And there are 7 spots left for twin flame readings at this time. So if you want to do that, you can feel free to do so. Let's see. Pearl Girl says, are there certain synastry signs you look for in twin flames charts? No, Pearl, I don't. There is a lot of people who could or would, but my guidance has been to really stay out of the business of telling people who's a twin and who's not a twin. Specifically because my guidance team said there's no like rule book or playbook for this. And each set of twins has their own way that they're going to operate their connection in the third dimension and their own path. And so they were like part of the process is a restoration of your divinity templates. And inside of your divinity templates, there's divine creativity, there's divine knowing, there's divine creatorship. And so they were like, if you start to use your divinity templates for people while they're trying to calibrate their own, it's like, the kid who never learns how to walk because the parent is always carrying them everywhere. I say, don't do that. Like, let people learn their own way. Is this a twin connection? Is it not? What does that mean for me personally? Okay. So they were very specific with me. They were like, don't override people's divine knowing with yours. Now, there are people who can look at your connection and really deduce, like, is this a twin connection or not? My guides told me that specifically the people who have that capability because they have the ability to work on the vehicle, the energy body vehicle. The twin flame energy body vehicle is quite different. The mechanics of it's a different type of engine than the other energy body vehicles. And so those who are shown this thing also have the ability to like give tune-ups to help heal the energy body vehicle to help it keep it running accordingly. So my guidance was to never override people's stuff in that way. Can I see it? Yeah, I can. I haven't leaned into twin flame healings as of yet. Um, I think that's something that might be coming for me, but as of right now, um, can I see it? Yeah, in my clairvoyance, but not astrologically. I can tell like when I'm talking to a twin or who's a twin, I can see all of it. But because I don't do any healing around it, my guidance was like, put that to the side until you're ready to do some healing. Okay. Hang in there, Kels. Yeah. Christina Adams says detox of South. Okay. And Shreya Sarkar says major detox indeed. H. Hine says, thank you for answering all these questions. So helpful. Good. Good. Pearl Girl says makes sense. Yeah. And Flower says everyone's purpose for union is different. Yes, I agree. I have seen that to be true in my own experience with reading for counterparts. Natalie says, I no longer call myself feminine or masculine. I simply recognize each and focus on integration. Right on. Good stuff. Synthesize was my keyword for 2024. Ooh, I love that word. Polarity was 2023. Couldn't have planned it if I tried. What's up, intuition? Right, Natalie? Great to see you, Natalie. I hope you're doing well. Okay. I think we got to the end of the current questions. If anybody has any other questions or any other shares about what their experiences have been as we move through the closure of this union window, these first 6 months of 2024, you want to share that. If you've got questions about the channeled messages that I just released, you can feel free to share that as well. Be more than happy to answer those questions. I think I'm going to stay on for about another, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I'm going to wrap up pretty soon. So if you've got a question, now's the time to ask it. Pearl Girl, do you think everyone has a twin? I missed the beginning if you address that. Thank you. This is a beautiful question. I think every spirit has the opportunity at some point in their evolution to experience it. Yes, is what my guides are showing me. It's not always. So, like the once born, they don't start off as twin flames. But as people's spirits evolve over lifetimes, yeah, they're showing me that it can happen, but it doesn't always have to. It's really a matter of like need for either growth or service, lessons, light work, leadership. It's not like something that everyone does. Just like, everyone doesn't have the same spiritual gifts. We're not all the same types of light workers. Um, it's just different for different souls, different spirits. Beautiful question, Pearl Girl. Thank you. Natalie says, I've also been working on the stuff you spoke on in the Virgo new moon video from January, Feb. I missed that video completely and it hit me right when I needed it. Just wanted to say thank you. Awesome. Yeah. That Virgo new moon was a profound new moon or full moon for this particular year. It was back during Pisces season and it was like a break point that set the tone for the rest of this year in a lot of ways. So I'm really glad that that landed for you when you needed it too. Butterfly Vision says, testing if you're seeing this fourth attempt. Yes, I see it, Butterfly Visions. I don't know what other attempts you've made because this is the first time I'm seeing your name here in the chat. Glare says, I have a question. Feel free to let us know. Nah, oh, I love it. Okay, cool. So I see you guys are chatting with each other. I love that. Nicole says, during this time, are we supposed to give space and let the DM come to us with communication? Natalie, it's going to depend on your connection, honestly. That's the thing I'm seeing across connections is that there isn't one wave of thing that everyone is supposed to be doing. And not only is there not one singular thing for all the people, DM or DF or all twins to be doing, I'm seeing a lot of flip-flopping between masculine and feminine energy, between counterparts, that it is not singularly masculine or singularly feminine, that a lot of people have moved into significantly greater integrated energy, as Natalie was just talking about when it comes to divine counterparts. Um, and I've also been shown that what you do in your connection is really going to be a matter of personal guidance, and it's not going to be the same like micro season over micro season. So, at this point, your interior guidance may be to lean back and just allow some space. But that's not going to be the same thing 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. It may be a little bit different. So, knowing how to be attuned to your connection and what it needs, knowing how to be attuned to yourself and what you need is really the name of the game at this particular time because it's going to be so specific to what's up with you and your person. Beautiful question. I'm really glad you asked. Um, let's see. Chandy says, can we speak to if our twins energy can show up in others that connect with us, like walking or soul tribe can walk-ins or soul tribe connections? That's so interesting because Chandy, I think somebody else asked something similar. She said that she had someone who was not her twin begin to emulate her twin's kind of behaviors. Um, Almost kind of suddenly and overnight. I mean, it's interesting. And they showed this to me. When was the last time this happened, guys? They're showing me the nodes in Libra and Aries. Interesting. Yeah, I remember sharing a channeled message. Hey, Kara, I'm always so happy to see you. Welcome. Um, so interesting because the last time I was showed something like this happen, I think it was like, was it like 2017? No, 2018, 2019. I remember sharing a channeled message about this that like freaked a lot of people out. And there was a lot of people who were like, it can't be true. That is absolutely wrong. You are a liar, K-Moon. Like people really lost their bananas over what I was shown, but I'm actually being shown something very similar now. Do I have guidance, permission to share this? Yes, that's why they're showing it to me. Okay. So, what they have talked to me about with this is that there are some people who, for various reasons, um, twin not available, too much wounding between the two people, not enough um, interest in the soul connection, more interest in the like human material voyage. I have been shown that there can be like twins who like they just kind of give up. They just like their connection completely stagnates. They do not move or grow. Um, and like one has specifically said, I am not, I have not, and I will not ever engage with you in the way you want to engage with me. Um, and they walk that out over like a number of years. I have been shown that where that is the case, for the counterpart who is invested and interested in continuing the journey, that there can be, yes, people who will show up um, to help or assist that person continue the journey, almost like um, showing me like people on a dance floor and you get a new partner when somebody's ready to walk off the floor, but you're staying on the floor. Somebody else's whose partner has walked off can come partner with you and you get a calibration for that. I've also been shown that these union windows are seasons where a lot of people who have just aborted the entire connection, they can like new divine counterparts can get activated like in a wave. Now they're always getting activated here and there anytime, but these union windows are periods of time where people can just kind of, you might see like a wave of people say, like, I met my counterpart in 2023 or 2022. There's a whole wave of folks that met in 2014 and 2015. So, um, that kind of thing. Mm. So yeah, it can be different. Um, I I don't know so much about the walk-in thing, but I am shown that, some people do get that kind of like they're showing me like a stitching of a cell, like the way like cellular fusion. I do see that some people get restitched where that's necessary, but it doesn't happen for everyone. It's not guaranteed. It's like it's again personal, personal. Okay. Um, Alkeen says, but like if I'm shown that, then like because somebody asked a similar question, and they did not speak to that. They spoke to other things for them at the beginning of the chat. So I guess they just wanted to expand. So if that other person who asked at the beginning of the chat, feels like that's resonant or truthful for them, then take it, you know. But if it doesn't feel resonant or truthful, don't try to force it to fit. Um, and just because you haven't been shown that and that's not your journey, that doesn't mean it's not somebody else's journey. It's really important that we honor that God and his sovereignty and his creativity is not done creating, is not done journeying, is not done experiencing through us. And we cannot even pretend like we know all the things and all the ways that God's going to move in his creation through the Twin Flame Collective. So I get shown different things. A lot of times it doesn't always make sense to me, but sometimes for the people for who need to hear it, it's validation for them. I think sometimes some of the reason I get shown certain things is because I just don't have a lot of judgment about the stuff I'm being shown. I don't have a lot of attachment to things being one way. It's like, oh, it's interesting. You could have a six-wheeled car. You could have a seven-wheeled car. Oh, a car could also be green and blue and orange all at the same time. Like I don't have any like real hang up about, well, a twin flame has to be this and this way, and it's the only way, and that's the only true thing, and everything else is false. I just don't have that. So, um, yeah, if it sounds like and resonates as validation for your circumstance, take it. If it's not, then it's not for you. Leave it for the people for whom it's for. Okay. Great question, Jandy. Thank you for asking. Alkeen says, I've come to realize too that I'm the DF working on balancing my DM, and she is the DM working on balancing her DF. Very interesting. Yeah, see, so many different ways that this can unfold. So many different ways for various reasons. I mean, there could be some family patterning the two of you need to work through around masculine and feminine, that's why you're doing it that way. There could be some people in your communities that you're meant to anchor some leadership for, and that's why you're doing it that way. It is so personal and so unique. There's no one specific way. So, um, let's see. Natalie says, I loved you saying, stop guiding them, stop trying to teach them, just let them do their own thing and trust they'll find their path and heal. It's a solo journey. Our job is to support. Yeah. Yeah. They're going to find it. They're going to find their way. They had guidance before you. They were figuring it out before you rolled along, right? We don't always have to like get in there and like I'm the guide, I'm their lead. Like, we don't need to always do that unless we're asked by somebody to. Chandy says another divine masculine with my twins healed energy came in. Very interesting. See, that hasn't happened for a lot of people, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen for you. So beautiful. I'm glad you're open to exploring and seeing what there is in the world of love for you to experience as a conduit of it at this time. It's beautiful. Christina says, that's what I felt my soulmate did, a walk-in for my twin. Interesting. Okay. Samantha Fuel says she met her counterpart in 2008. Shreya says 2007. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Sechin Ethereal Supreme says, hi, ma'am. Love from India. Very lovely to meet you, Sechin. Hello. Great to have you. Very cool. So I love that there's some folks who just joined the chat from India. Great to have you. Welcome. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Always good to meet folks from everywhere around the world. Okay, beloveds, this is where I leave you. If you were hoping to book one of the personal readings for 20% off, now is the time to do it. That code live20 is going to go away in a few moments. So please, 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 if you were hoping to use the reading for the personal, use that code for a personal reading, go ahead and book it. I'm presently booking in the second half of July, so 2 weeks from now, and I would love to chat with you. And there are 7 spots left for a twin flame reading. So if you're feeling like I really need to understand this next segment or what just happened between me and my counterpart, if you're feeling like I need some guidance around that and what's happening next, there are 7 spots for that. Okay. Awesome. Natalie says, oh, it got easier because I started realizing when I actually healed for real. Stopped my secret bad behaviors, meditated joy, Saturn Virgo stuff. Yeah. House in order. I love that. He is now supportive. Wow. By the way, he proposed on June 14th. Hey, congratulations, Natalie. I love to hear about a good proposal. It's funny. It's like the second proposal I'm hearing about today. Very interesting. But I guess it is that season. Um, really cool. Wonderful to connect you guys. Thank you if you're listening to the recording and you want to drop your experience in the comments. That would be amazing. I think it will help some folks. Um, but I probably won't do a lot of Q&A in the comments just during the live. If you have questions, during outside of this live, you need support. The way to get answers is to find me over at kmoonastro.com. There's also a link below this video to my live mini reading channel. So if you would like to book a mini reading, you recommend that you subscribe to that channel and hit the notification bell so that you know when I go live. Alternatively, you can join my private list. Link to do that is also below this video. I tend to let the private list know about 24 hours in advance and then 1 hour before I go live, so that if you're like, yeah, I really want to do something more discreet, like a singular question as opposed to a full reading, you can do that in that way. Okay. Awesome. Congratulations again, Natalie. I love that. And Kels, who asked for a divorce yesterday, congratulations to you too. Whatever you guys feel like is your right next step, it's not for anyone else to judge, right? There's going to be so much like heart-centered clarity up and like we're not going to be able to almost stay away from the action we feel like we need to take. So trust yourself when that impulse arises and says, this is where I need to be. This is the action I need to take. Trust yourself, because that is what is this Aries energy is trying to get us all to do, is to get into right action, right alignment, right use of our own active masculine energies to move our lives into alignment with the truth of who God really created us to be. Okay. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Take great care and bye for now.